This video was sponsored by Enhance, NeoWatt, A Better Road Planner, Elbilmek, Kempower and Bilkomponenter. Yo, what's up? Okay, I know that we are almost in April, but I had some time left and I wanted to check out my electricity use at this big house I have here in Jessheim. When I checked it, we have this Elvia app. I see that we have 29,000 kilowatt hour or 29 megawatt hour use. People will be like, oh, that is insanely high. It's because you have 25 degrees Celsius inside the house during winter, or it's because of the pool, you know. It's like, yeah, it sounds high, but is it really that high? Well, let's see. I also look at each easy charger charging station. They also have data for how much I spent total for last year, and also each month we have. So check on it. I had 3 of those, and they're 11 kilowatt each. And then I look at the NIBE. I have to go to that washing room, and then I can see for every month the energy log. So NIBE logs how many kilowatt hour we spend in electricity, and then how much equivalent heat we get out. I think given that we have, for example, a COP1 PTC heater, and also this data also includes hot water we use for showering or cooking or whatever, right? Or wash, yeah. So very efficient. That NIBE heat, it's a waterborne system. It's an air to water, or whatever you call it. It's not bergvarme. It's not pulling heat from the ground. But it's still fairly not that expensive compared to maybe bergvarme. But you can see that during summer, at least spring summer, it becomes insanely efficient. We don't need to use that much electricity, but then during winter it goes up. So then I gather everything here. Yeah, sorry, it lacks some units here. Just want to make things short. Most of these units are kilowatt hour anyway, except for the COP here. But okay, if we start here, you see this is a total consumption reported by Elvia, the grid company. And as expected, we have higher consumption, well actually, or unexpected. We have higher consumption during winter, at least some winter months. But then what the heck happened in January, December? Well, we were in Thailand, but there's still some consumption. I lowered the temperature to around 20 degrees Celsius inside. So that's why there's some idle consumption there. And then we have all the easy boxes here. There is 1 placed outside and then 2 in the garage. I think this is the one of the most common. It's actually the easy one. I just call it easy one. That is the garage on the south side, and that's the most common I use because it's on the same side where the driver's door is, on the left side. Because the left side is the right side, and the right side is the wrong side. Yeah, that's the highest consumption, you see. And then the EC2 is on the north side in the garage, and then the EC3 is the one that is outside. And so we have the totals here, how much we charge. It's actually, wow, almost 10 megawatt hour. And then here we also have the NIBE stuff. So during winter, if it's really cold outside, my heat pump might have been optimized for some other temperatures. But in minus 20 degrees or minus 23 or minus 24, I don't remember, the heat pump will not work, and it uses PTC heater. So fortunately, there's only a few days per year we have that. So last winter in 2024, I think it was colder. Then we had maybe a week of quite extreme heat, cold weather. But okay, anyway, we have it all here. Here we have the COP. So even during winter, it's still okay, right? But in summer, it becomes even better, almost 5. Yeah, I'm not sure how good this is compared to other heat pumps. But okay. And then what is this then? Okay, some kind of cryptic here, the title, I don't want it too long, but the remaining is then, if you take the total minus charging, minus the heat pump for heating and hot water, the remaining here is what we use for cooking and light. Some of the lights are actually on 24/7. And everything else, computer and charging devices, whatever, right? Of course, when we are in Thailand, we don't use that much. Then it's slight, just like idle stuff, right? But when we are here, we still spend some stuff here. Around, I don't know how much I would say, 800, 900 kilowatt hour per month. But then here we had the Easter trip to Göteborg, but it wasn't that long, like 4 or 5 days maybe. But then here, what the heck happened in May, June, July? That is when the pool started. I don't have exact measurement for how much the pool pulls, but I know that the pump runs 24/7. So then, in one day, it's around 16, 17 kilowatt hour just for the pump. And then I multiply that by 30, and then I estimate that the heat pump might steal around 6 kilowatt hour during the day, right? In the spring and fall, and then during summer we have better weather. Well, maybe this should be okay. Whatever. Not super accurate all this, but just to give you some idea, right? So that's probably why the consumption is higher during summer, because of the damn pool. Yes, always blame pool. And then here, I forgot, I should have added some numbers here maybe. Okay, well, it was just something like this-ish, right? And then maybe this should be roughly there. Just to give you some idea how it is. And then also, I forgot to mention, during summer, okay, the NIBE stuff is lower, but then during summer, we also need to use air conditioning, which is in the rest here, because we don't have that in that, But air conditioning, I don't know, it's inefficient. We don't have it installed in the wall yet. Once we get that installed, it will probably be more efficient, because now we are letting out some of that cool air from the, it's just a temporary system. It's noisy and inefficient. Other than that, what else can we explain here? Okay, so here, totals. When you look at the total, so when you look at this, it's like, holy crap, man, you're wasting so much energy, 29 kilowatt hour. But then, wait a minute, if we deduct the charging, then suddenly if I drive diesel, then this big villa, which is 285 square meters, is only consuming 19 kilowatt hour. Yeah, that's actually not too bad. When I tried to Google about this, it seems like a big villa like this size should consume 30 to 40 kilowatt hour. So that means that this NIBE is efficient. If you don't have the pool, then it's actually only 16 kilowatt hour, 16 megawatt hour per year. And that is roughly half of what let's say a not so efficient house is, right? But then we also kind of need to deduct the time we are in Thailand, 1 to 2 months roughly. And it is during the winter months that we consume a lot of energy. But you will see that in the NIBE here, that even when we are not there, it still consumes, because I set the baseline to have like 20 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure, maybe I could lower it to around 10 degrees Celsius so that the pipes doesn't freeze over. But I set it there so that I can adjust it up again 10 degrees when we are back. So that's why. So I'm not sure. I don't want to turn the system completely off, right, when we are gone during winter. You see, here we pretend that we don't have any charging and we don't have any pool due to we want to isolate those variables. Only look at the house, right? And then 1700 kilowatt hour. Then we need to deduct what NIBE used. But then we add how much we needed to spend if we had PTC heating or a resistive heater 1-to-1 or COP1, right? So that's why you get that number instead. And then you will see that during winter it is quite high. And then in summer it becomes low. And then we get around 30 megawatt hour per year, which is what is expected for this size house. But you see, the house is not in its final state where it is the most efficient yet even. So, for example, during summer, when we get sun blasting in the windows here, I want to have that sunshade, or it's called SIP screen. So it will block heat on the outside so that we don't have to use the air conditioning so much in the inside. And also, like I mentioned, the air conditioning that we have is just temporary. We have to crack open the door and stuff. So once we get it mounted properly, right, with the inside and outside part and whatever, it will be better, less leakage and more efficient. And also we actually have, when it comes to that waterborne system, we have regular density of those liquid loops or whatever in the first floor, but I had to save cost and I actually went for just half loop on the second floor, because my idea was that some of the heat will actually transfer up, and also downstairs is where we stay, right? That's how we have designed the house, that we stay downstairs with the living room and kitchen and stuff, and then we sleep upstairs. Many houses in Norway is actually opposite, that you enter the living area by going upstairs, and then you have the beds and bedrooms downstairs. But in general, we want to have the bedrooms colder anyway. So the half loop in the upstairs, they were cheaper, but then it means that they don't transfer the heat that well up there. So we just need some initial PDC heater. We've been using some cheap resistive heater in 2 of the bedrooms. Eventually we need to open the 3rd bedroom once one of our children gets big enough, right? But eventually we will also get heat pump in those bedrooms to cool it down during summer, but also to heat it up during winter, so it will also be more efficient. So overall though, we're gonna see, I guess, in a couple of years, or maybe, I don't know, we can summarize again next year then. How was 2026? And then as the kids grow bigger, they might also need more energy. And they're gonna spend more energy for showering and, I don't know, keeping those rooms warmer because they need to do homework there, I don't know. So, and they're gonna start gaming, who knows, but that's gonna be in a couple of years. So it's interesting to see how the energy consumption has gone. Maybe I should have compared this against the 2024 numbers, but some of those years were kind of, I don't know, unstable, if you would say it. But also eventually I want to get solar and maybe also battery. But then we can see, but in that case, am I gonna spend more energy? Probably not more, but maybe it will be down to cost, that I will spend less money on buying electricity. I will actually just consume my own electricity, right? So that will also be interesting. And actually in this case here, we didn't look at the cost, but I can see they said in general, it costs only 1 NOK per kilowatt hour, or around 10 euro cents per kilowatt hour. So electricity in Norway is dirt cheap, and it comes from renewable energy. 98% is renewable. Yeah, it's awesome, and the remaining 2% is probably nukes. Okay, anyway, that's gonna be for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching, and talk to you later.